Welcome to another episode of Cooking from Camp. Today I'm going to do a very simple, once again, a one skillet meal that is easy for if you're camping in an RV and maybe even potentially as you're tenting. It is going to be a wild rice casserole. Now you've probably heard of wild rice before. You've maybe had it as a grain, as a side in a nice restaurant. Maybe you've heard of wild rice soup. But wild rice is actually not a rice, like a white rice like you think of. It's actually a grass. It's a grain, but it is actually a grass. It comes in the U.S. mostly from Minnesota, where I hail from. That's why I love wild rice. Or California. And there are all kinds coming from light brown to sort of greenish to dark brown. And you've even seen white rice, like you know, Asian white rice, and wild rice blends together. You can find that in the store. How to find wild rice? You can find it while you're traveling through Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota at gift shops, but you also find it online to order. You're unlikely to find probably pure wild rice in your grocery store. You'll find the blends that I was speaking of, but this is going to be a pure wild rice. And this wild rice, I'm very happy to say, is wildly grown. It is not cultivated and farmed. It is a long grain, very nice dark brown wild rice. And the dish basically is going to be very simple, where you begin. Well, let me finish about rice again. So what is so great about this? It is gluten-free, for one thing, because it is not a white rice like you know. It's gluten-free. It's low in fat, high in protein. You get all your B multivitamins. You get things like copper, manganese, a lot of metals, zinc, for example. And the nice thing is you can use it in everything from a soup to a side dish to the kind of casserole type thing that I'm going to help or show you how to make today. So now that you know about wild rice, this is going to be quite easy. Just going to begin by sauteing. I'm going to dice up maybe half of this onion or so. I'm going to saute that. I had these green scallions in the fridge. I'm going to just dice those up and get rid of them. You can add all kinds of things. Today is going to be mushrooms and carrots. So this is a heartier dish. It's a very earthy, grainy, nutty kind of rice when it cooks and pops open. So it's nice to do kind of fall vegetables. I will be adding, once it starts cooking and boiling, I'm going to be adding a bouillon cube, vegetable cube. Oh, I forgot, the garlic, that's going to go with the sauteed onions at the beginning. Once I add the rice, I'm going to use a half cup. I find I'm serving 2 people. By the time you have the grain and all these vegetables we're adding, I'm going to add spinach as well, by the way, at the end. It's going to be enough for serving for 2. The ratio generally is 1:4 for water. So if you've got a half cup, it's going to be 2 cups of water. The brown rices or a blend is going to be different, so check the recipe on the box. What is going to happen as the rice is cooking? It takes about an hour and 10 minutes. So about halfway through the rice cooking, I will then add the carrots and the mushrooms so they can cook down and the flavors can really absorb. At the very end, I'm going to add the spinach until it's cooked, which will be very quick. And then I'm going to add a dairy type product. So I've got almond milk. You could also use half and half. You can also use a little bit of whipping cream. And this is up to you how much liquid you add, how soupy you want it to be. Obviously, if you're making a soup, it's going to be very soupy, and you're going to maybe add some chicken if you want to add your meats. This is a vegetarian meal that I'm making. And at the very end will be some Parmesan cheese, just to make it a little bit gooey and cheesy and a little bit more protein. So I will begin by dicing all the veggies up, sauteing them. Then I'll add the rice and the liquid and let it simmer very slowly for about 30 or 40 minutes. Add the rest of the vegetables, let it finish cooking, and then I'll finish it. And today I'm cooking with wine. I'm going to be drinking the wine, but not in the dish. This is a nice dry white wine to go nicely with a creamy dish like this casserole. So stay tuned and let's see what this turns into. Cheers! So, time to dice up and get cooking. A little bit of wine sip there. I'm going to dice the brown onion first. Actually not dice, it's just sort of a rough cut. Same thing to the garlic. These are the aromatics. I know carrots are considered aromatics too, but they don't come until later in this recipe. The green onions, slice and dice. Keep them separate. They cook a lot faster. So we'll put the brown onion in the little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, saute them until they're about halfway cooked, a little bit translucent. Then we can add the garlic and the scallions. Stir and stir. Now these carrots, mushrooms, and spinach, they're all pre-washed, which is great for camping. Saves on water, which is really nice. When those veggies are all done, we'll just let them sit for a minute. And once they're completely cooked, then we will go ahead, add that bouillon cube. I like using Knorr, kind of crunch it up, and put in the rice, the water, stir, 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 get it up to a nice simmer. And once you get the simmer, you will be able to just put the lid on and set the timer for about 40 minutes or so for this first stage before we add the rest of the vegetables. In the meantime, we will cut up the carrots and the mushrooms. They can go together because they're going in the dish at the same time. And what I also like to do when it comes to dicing spinach, if you leave spinach in big chunks, when it cooks it can be a giant chunk. So I like to dice that nice and small. The 40 minutes has passed, the rice is opened up, I'm adding the carrots, mushrooms, and spinach. Set the timer again for the last wave of this expedition, and you can see how thick this is getting. The moisture is being absorbed, the veggies are definitely cooked by now. Give them those last 5 minutes or so, and then we will move on to finishing the dish and getting it served. So this has been cooking for about an hour and 10-15 minutes. The rice, look at this. When the little rice pods start popping, come on over here, start popping open, and you can smell the nuttiness. It's cooked down quite nicely. I've added the veggies, of course, and I'm just going to do the finishing and serve it up. So again, you can use your whipped cream, your half and half, or whatever. Use as much moisture as you like. Since this is a more liquid moisture versus a whipping cream or something, just adding this. Increase the heat there a little bit. Oh, creamy delicious. This is a very delicious fall food. But don't do it for only fall foods. You can do it anytime. Add whatever amount of cheese, whatever kind of cheese you like, and you're going to get this gooey, cheesy, delicious, very healthy, vegetarian. Oh, look at that. Oh, if you could only smell this. Very delicious, happy, vegetarian, creamy, delicious, healthy, low-fat, high-nutrition, high-protein meal. I'm going to serve it up, and we're going to have a great time. I hope you try this at home. Lots of options for wild rice. So until next time, happy cooking out there.